tomorrow. Then I'm going to go to Nevada, Colorado, and come back through New Hampshire. And I'll do my own campaigning, so it won't be the 10,000 that he gets, but maybe I can get 2,000 or 3,000.
Call us from the road, because we would love to hear from you.
And then I think he's got a surprise or two that you're going to hear about in the next few days.
Right.
I mean, I'm talking about some pretty big surprise.
Oh, yeah, I heard you say that this morning. What do you mean?
You'll see.
Be
We got a couple things up our sleeve that should turn this around.
One of Donald Trump's top surrogates, former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, brought up unprompted some, quote, pretty big surprises in the works just 2 days before FBI Director James Comey sent his bombshell letter to Congress detailing the discovery of new emails that may not pertain to Hillary Clinton's private server, ones that they had not viewed. Now, new reporting suggests Giuliani may have been hinting about that revelation 2 days before it became public because of Giuliani's connections to the New York FBI office and one former FBI official in particular. Investigative journalist Wayne Barrett broke the story today in a piece of the Daily Beast titled "Meet Donald Trump's Top FBI Fanboy," and Wayne Barrett joins me now. Wayne, tell me about this sort of what your reporting found and who Jim Kallstrom is.
I'm out here in our neighborhood, Chris.
Good.
Or as you like to call it, Cubland.
Yeah, that's right.
But James Kallstrom was the head of the FBI office in New York for a number of years, and it was a number of years ago. But for many reasons, he has maintained enormous ties with FBI agents, particularly in the New York area. He had a TV show called The FBI Files that was on air until 2006, and he runs a foundation that is called the Marine Corps Law Enforcement Foundation, and it's the Marines that are in any FBI and other federal law enforcement agencies are part of it. So he has a continuing stream of relationships with FBI agents, as does Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani's law firm, at least the one he's been with for many years, he just left it this year, is Bracewell. It was called Bracewell Giuliani, and they represent the FBI Agent Association of 13,000 members, and Rudy has been intimately tied with that organization for a number of years. So they both have legions of FBI relationships. I want to make it clear, I've known a lot of FBI agents in my life, some of the best people I've ever known.
Yeah.
They actually invited me to go to Quantico. I spent 2 days there talking to the public corruption agents all across America. And, I think, Joy Reid just said it's a cell. I called it the fifth column within the FBI, and I certainly don't want to disperse the agency itself or the vast majority of agents. But there's some that I think are clearly violating guidelines, if not laws, in these open conversations. I do want to go back, Chris, to your prior discussion, because you really have to parse what Brett Barr said on Fox, and because it's just being constantly misrepresented. He did not cite FBI sources.
That's right. Sources close to the investigation are familiar with the investigation. Yes. That's right.
And yes, and if you look at Devlin Barrett's stories in the Wall Street Journal, that big long one, 22 times in one piece, he cited people familiar with the investigation.
Excellent, important point.
Yes, now, as an investigative reporter, if I can call somebody an FBI source, I do it. If I can call somebody a law enforcement source, I do it. Makes the story stronger. But when you're citing people familiar with the investigation 22 times, we have no idea who is saying what to who. Could be Rudy.
Right.
Rudy is a person familiar with the investigation. Could be Comstrong. I'm sorry, James Cole. It could,
or it could be,
they could be.
It could be any number of people. A attenuated from the actual. That's a really good, important, clarifying point. I mean, your point in the piece is that you got Giuliani, you got Kallstrom, and we should note that it's Kallstrom's foundation, the one that you just mentioned, is the one that got the $1 million donation from Donald Trump that he had pledged when he skipped that debate, which he then never wrote a check for until the Washington Post called and asked him about the money. The next day he wrote them the check. That's to that foundation, which is what Jim Kallstrom runs.
Yes, and he's known Trump for 40 years. He says that himself. I described in detail from his own mouth the nature of the relationship over many, many years. And he goes on the air and calls the Clintons a crime family. Now, the FBI has 5 units in the city of New York in that very office that investigate real crime families. For him to use that kind of wording, I mean, that is just, it's calamitous for an FBI agent who has held the titles, and he was assistant director of the FBI. Yeah, to use that kind of language, it's just completely beyond the ken. And, they've both gone on the air. Rudy a couple of times, and Kallstrom endless times, citing FBI agents. Kallstrom even cites FBI agents involved in this investigation, which of course would be a violation of guidelines at least, and maybe a violation of law for them to be talking to people who are openly partisan. Yeah. Kallstrom formally endorsed Trump on Fox News. Giuliani is his number one surrogate. I think he's more involved in the campaign than Mike Pence.
Yeah. Wayne Barrett, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, Wayne.